Hello, Sagar. Thank you for your essay. We apologize for the delay that we've been experiencing, but let's have a look at both your texts right now. Now, the first essay is about spending money on tickets. Okay, so let's go. Global economic prosperity has made available a huge amount of disposable money to the young generation, most of which they spend for recreational activities like attending sporting and cultural events. Oh, sounds very nice. The only comment I have here is that you take the expression sporting or cultural events as it is from the task. Try not to do that because um, this will be deducted from your overall vocabulary count, word count, because this shows that you have an insufficient range of vocabulary. So whenever possible, do not take entire expressions or clauses or sentences from the task. Try to rephrase them in your own words. While a few people perceive this as a negative trend, I personally disagree, as in my opinion, this supports the growth of entertainment industry and trickle the income growth to all people. Okay, it looked brilliant so far, but I'm not sure what you mean by has support. Supports. Probably you mean, in my opinion, this supports the growth of entertainment industry and trickles or helps trickle the income growth back to all people. This sounds interesting, but I would not say that this sounds entirely natural. You can say that this channels the income back to the population. That would be a more natural way of saying this. In this essay, we will consider both aspects of this new trend before drawing an informed conclusion. Very nice academic vocabulary, very nice academic but I think it doesn't hurt to say I, because you don't have to be as academic as you would be when writing an article for an academic journal. Okay. Now the next paragraph. On one hand, there are people who suggest that this tendency of spending an outrageous amount of money for such events is eroding the wealth of the young generation. Very nice vocabulary, eroding. They suggest that the young adults are not saving enough for their old age, as most of their income is spent on recreational activities. Quite impressive. I really love the way you build your sentences here and the way you use vocabulary very appropriately, very precisely. Keep up the good work. A recent survey conducted on millennials has shown that an overwhelming 65% of those who participated in the study do not have enough savings to meet their post-retirement expenses. I might suggest a hyphen in here, like this, but that would be very picky me. But again, beautiful vocabulary, beautiful grammar. People also argue that this trend contributes to a vicious cycle. We typically say vicious circle, not cycle. The words sound the same, but the correct location is a vicious circle, where the rich are acquiring more wealth while the poor are pushed further down. Great. This happens as the major chunk of the money goes to rich corporates, which operate these entertainment centers. And in the process, the leeching business from small local establishments. I'm not sure where the verb here is. I love the way that you use the metaphor of leeching. Yes, the leech that sucks blood. But you need to use this verb more appropriately here, because this clause lacks an active verb. Other than that, this is a nice paragraph. But I can see two ideas here. The first idea is that spending this much money on events takes away from the savings of the modern young people. But two, which has been absolutely wonderful this far. But then you say people also argue that this trend contributes to a vicious circle where the rich are becoming even richer. So perhaps in your topic sentence here, you should have mentioned both or combined them or integrated them into one main idea, because otherwise your paragraph suddenly comes up with a second idea, which is not a very good idea. Remember, one body paragraph, one idea. Yes, you should use supporting sentences and examples, but this is a separate idea. It's an idea of its own. And I think you also lack a concluding sentence, and a concluding sentence would be great with all this beautiful vocabulary and grammar. On the other hand, although there are few disadvantages of excess money being spent on sporting and cultural events, its positive impact cannot be overstated. One such advantage is the ever-increasing number of people admiring cultural events, and I think you have a repeat cultural events here and sporting and cultural events here. Again, try to rephrase this. Again, you are reusing the phrase from the task. Okay, wait a second. Okay, so you think this is a positive development. Okay, I needed to see to go back and see what your position is. Okay, as people pay to watch, no, so one such advantage is you don't need a comma. The ever increasing number of people admiring cultural events help preserve local and international cultures. Okay, tell me more about this. As people pay to watch and enjoy various cultural events, again, cultural events. Too many repeats, you might lose you will lose points for vocabulary for this. In the form of dance, music, and plays, it provides economic and moral boost for the performers, you probably mean, who, comma, in turn, preserve the culture. Whose culture? What kind of culture? Indigenous, native. You need an adjective here for the culture. Another major advantage is the economic trickle-down effect. Okay, yes, this is a great topic sentence for this paragraph because, yes, it is general enough to say, to be able to be developed the way you did. So you need to do the same in the previous body paragraph. The major advantage is the economic. As a large number of high-income individuals pour into theaters and stadiums, they help spread the income to people of lower income group. You are overusing the word income. Try to find another way of saying whatever you're saying with the word income. This is mainly in the form of food and merchandise purchased from the vendors from in and around such establishments. For example, a study has shown that establishing a stadium or a theater considerably increased the income of local businesses, in some cases up to, was seen, or there was a 45% increase. Great, you need a concluding sentence. Please revise the essay formula that Ben gave in his videos. This is very important. Yes, you are overusing the word income. I am not convinced as for how people of lower income are being enriched. I got it that it's good for the local economy, but I'm not sure that how people in particular benefit from this. So perhaps you should be more specific. I'm not sure that the way you explained it is sufficient. This might be an issue with coherence. So now the conclusion. From the aforementioned arguments and examples, I believe that the advantages of increased spending on recreational activities far outweigh its disadvantages. I further believe that this trend will make sure our culture is our. If you say our, you probably refer to your local culture. Which one? If you don't mean your local culture from, let's say, I don't know, Croatia. I'm just making things up. So you really have to say local, not our, because our makes you think about something very specific connected to your background and passed on to the next generation. Okay, what can I say? Task achievement. Yes, you are answering the task almost perfectly. However, some of the supporting ideas are not developed exhaustively. So it's a very good task achievement score, but not sufficient to get to the level of 8 or 9, but this is very strong nevertheless. Coherence and cohesion. Overall, they look great. You use a variety of cohesive devices and discourse markers. However, pay attention so that you don't miss anything, and that the way you build your sentences contributes to coherence. Vocabulary. You have quite a number of repeated words like income in a place or cultural events in another. You reuse the expressions from the task, so be careful, you might be penalized for this. Grammar and vocabulary. You have grammatical resource. You have a high degree of a high quality in terms of range of grammar, complex sentences, complex tenses. However, be careful with punctuation, with minor things like prepositions or plurals, very small things. But nevertheless, this is absolutely brilliant. Keep up the great work, and let's have a look at task 1. This is the complaint about the restaurant. Okay. Dear Sir, Madam. Okay. Very good start. This is a formal complaint, and after seeing Dear Sir, Madam, I don't even read the letter. I go here right away. I see yours faithfully, which is great because you don't know who you're writing to. Then I see Jack. How about saying Jack, let's say Bond, right? You really need the last name because in a formal letter, you always give your full name. Please remember that and use that. If you don't do that, that is a mistake. Okay, now the content. I'm writing this letter to express my regret in having dined at your restaurant. It was the worst dining experience I have ever had. Both the food and the behavior. You probably mean as, right? So we need cohesive devices as both the food and the behavior of your staff were. You have a plural subject, so you need the verb to follow. Distasteful. Good vocabulary. I would say here to have dined. It would be more appropriate. Okay, the incident occurred on the 2nd of March, and you need to capitalize March. While dining, again, you are overusing the word dine. Look at this. 1, 2, and 3. At your eatery at Atlanta. Okay, I checked in. You don't need the hyphen. At what? Do you mean the time or what? With my wife and 3-year-old child or son or daughter. Please do not use the word kid. It is way too informal for a formal letter. It is unacceptable. Okay. So you probably need a semicolon here or a period because you have another independent clause following. Upon asking for a child seat for my, again, let's say son, the staff rudely rejected the request, stating that they do not have one. I wouldn't say they rejected the request. You can say the staff replied rudely that they do not have one. So it's a vocabulary thing here. In addition to that, they refuse, you don't need a comma, they refuse to serve items mentioned on, again, not kids, but children's menu, with no explanation as to why it cannot be served, as why they cannot be served. Serve, served. Try to use a better range of vocabulary because you are forced to repeat yourself. To top it all, this is a bit informal in terms of cohesive devices. The food was undercooked. I asked them to recook it. To my surprise, I was charged extra getting the food recooked. Okay, again, the same. You are lacking vocabulary, and you will lose points for vocabulary unless you use synonyms, appropriate synonyms. This sentence is quite informal. Perhaps you could say, in addition to this, or to crown it all, the food we ordered, and namely this, this, and that, it would be great to mention what kind of food was undercooked, because you really need to showcase your vocabulary on the topic. Was undercooked. When, let's say full stop. When asked them to I don't know, to bring it to the appropriate condition. To my surprise, I was charged extra to only have the food recooked, something like this. I'm trying to help you with the vocabulary. I request you take, okay, or I would go with I kindly request. That would sound more polite. It's a stern action, great vocabulary against the water staff at your Atlanta branch. As I also expect you to provide a full refund and a personal apology for the inconvenience caused to me and my family. Yours faithfully, Jet Bond. Okay, great task achievement. I told you, you do have an issue with vocabulary. Try to use more synonyms. Avoid repetitions at all costs. Do not use highly informal vocabulary, and please mind minor grammar accuracy issues, such as a tense here, verbal form there, spelling or punctuation mistake in other parts. And pay attention. Do not connect independent clauses in one long sentence. And if you're interested, review what comma splice is. Comma splice is spelled like this. This is the mistake that you keep making, like here. So instead of a comma, use a semicolon or a period. Research what that is, and this will increase the quality of your sentence structure greatly. Anyway, you have great vocabulary, great grammar, great logic and coherence, and absolutely great task achievement. I'm sure that you will do equally beautifully at the exam. But if anything, keep in touch and definitely keep up the good work.